The Michigan Ice Fest recognizes the tribal nations of this territory, the Keweenaw Indian Community, the Lac Vieux Desert Band of Lake Superior, Chippewa, the Bay Mills Indian Community, the Hannahville Indian Community, and the Sault Ste. Marie Tribe of Chippewa Indians. We acknowledge that we stand upon the ancestral homelands of the Anishinaabeg. Welcome to the Michigan Ice Fest. With title sponsor, Black Diamond Equipment. Live, climb, repeat. Sponsored by Patagonia, building the best product, causing no unnecessary harm, using business to protect nature, not bound by convention. The North Face, tested in labs, proven on expeditions, trusted by athletes. Mountain Hardware. We create performance apparel and equipment to empower outdoor athletes to live boldly. Loa Boots. Since 1923, Loa has been the choice of mountain adventurers, setting the standard for quality, innovation, fit, and responsible manufacturing. Loa, simply more. Petzl. We are Petzl, committed to creating safer places for those that work and play in the vertical and dark worlds, maintaining industrial excellence and pioneering perpetual innovation. Gravel. Gravel wants everyone to find and climb their own mountains. Each seeks their own summit, their own path. To each their own. Scarpa. Innovation and tradition share equally deep roots at Scarpa. Performance footwear and technical products for skiing, climbing, mountaineering, hiking, and running. Camp USA. Lighter, faster, camp. Yeti. Built for the wild. Arc'teryx. For what's to come. La Sportiva. At La Sportiva, our mission is to bring you the best technical and sustainable products to explore the outdoors. For over 90 years, we've been innovating products that let you go where you dream to go, do what you dream to do, and live how you want to live. La Sportiva, innovation with passion. And Sterling Ropes. Sterling designs and manufactures the highest quality rope and cord for the tallest peaks, toughest climbs, and most remote missions. With support from Aku, Clean Canteen, Blue Ice, Rab, Fitz Socks, Osprey, Good to Go, The Fire Station, Trango, Glacier Cannabis, Alpinist Magazine, the Munising Visitor Bureau, Michigan's Office of Outdoor Recreation Industry, and Munising, Michigan, home of the festival and your gateway to the Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore.
Never heard anyone cheer for one of our sponsors in the trailer before, but I'm sure they appreciate that. Welcome everyone to the 31st Michigan Ice Climbing Festival. That amazing sponsor trailer was put together by our friend Mike Wilkinson. I think Mike's here, yeah? He's around here somewhere, does an amazing job. Why don't you stand up, Mike? He is the film director of Kentucky Ice. So make sure you Google that, and where can they watch it, Mike? Amazon and Vimeo for Kentucky Ice. Amazing film. So everybody having a great day then? It's pretty amazing to climb in spring conditions in February, right? So we had our usual lineup for the demo this morning. So we did get everyone out of there. An amazing amount of equipment went out to demo. We thank everyone for their patience. And tomorrow, I can promise you, after tonight's after show party, we won't have that big of a line. So if you didn't get gear right away, come on in tomorrow morning and we'll get you out climbing. A couple things we want to remind you about is our photo contest. Actually, we don't have a lot of photos in the photo contest yet. So hashtag Michigan Ice Fest 2023. Make sure it's public so we can see it either on Facebook or Instagram. We'll collect those about a week after the fest. We post them on Facebook. Get all your family and friends to vote for it and win a registration to next year's festival. I also am very excited and happy to announce that we did have somebody win our treasure hunt. Matt, and I can't remember Matt's last name, he was signing the novel in the hallway. He and his high school daughter went out to the subway. They had a beautiful mile ski in through snow-covered trees, sunshine, and climbed this beautiful climb. How many people have climbed the subway? Oh, why does everybody say it's so busy, all the ice is taken? Only 2 people have climbed the subway in this whole audience. So that's kind of one of the reasons we do the treasure hunt, to get people out there exploring a little bit, and same with the remote route challenge. So there is ice out there to climb, and fresh ice at that. We also, you know, this event, the history of it started in early January. And for reasons kind of like today, we've migrated to mid-February to try to make it possible to get out to Grand Island. It's incredibly warm, and obviously we couldn't get out there. But that puts us from our early history in January to around Valentine's Day. And we always say Ice Fest is for lovers, right? So we did have another engagement. Are the happy couple here? Are they here? Barry, they're probably over at Scotty's. All right, so we've had engagements, we've had marriages, and I'm sure a few births at this event, so we're very proud of that. We also gave out our Sunat scholarship. Is the young lady here? Oh, awesome. Come on up and just say hi. So we do this every year. We do this every year. Sue is an athlete at our event. You can go around that, or you're probably young enough you can probably jump up. There we go. Awesome. Yeah, they are. Fantastic. So Sue is an athlete at our event, and unfortunately passed away up in Alaska. And ever since then, we decided to do a scholarship in Sue's honor to create opportunities for young ladies to come out and experience the sport of ice climbing. So if you know someone, make sure that they apply. So they have to write a letter of why they wanted to come. They had to get a letter of support from somebody other than their parents, and then also submit their most recent report card. And we don't base the scholarship off the report card, but just to say that school is important, right? All right, so we hook them up with registration and get them out on one of our all women intro to ice classes. Did they take good care of you out there? What'd you climb? Twin Falls. You have fun? Coming back next year? Awesome. Nice job. Big round of applause for these guys. We also, over at the Guide Center this afternoon, had our Mountain Books program with Conrad signing books, Barry signing posters, Sam Elias posters, Tim Banfield signed his How to Climb Ice book. We thought we sold through all of Conrad's books, but we found another box. So they're over there, so if you want to buy one and find Conrad somewhere tomorrow, I'm sure he'd be happy to autograph that. Same with Barry. We have posters from Barry, Sam Elias, and Tim's books over there as well. So feel free to pick one of those up and see those guys. So without further ado, we are just going to roll right into our one of our feature Saturday evening presentations. This amazing sponsor role. Those are all of the outdoor companies and the ones you cheered for that actually make this event happen by sending us athletes, sending us demo gear, sending us raffle prizes, and really makes this event roll. And so our longtime sponsor, Patagonia, has sent Barry, well, we were talking, and we're of the age, we can't remember how long or how many times he's been here, but he's been here a lot. And he is a dear friend, just a beautiful human being, and we're going to watch his film called Spindrift. Warm welcome for Barry Blanchard.
Thank you so much, and yeah, it's so nice to be back here in Munising, and I think Bill and I figured maybe it's 6 times I've been here, and someone that's just sitting beside me right now remembered I was here in the 90s, so yeah, it's been a great festival and always great to get back here. And my daughter, who's in the film, was 6 months old the first time she came here, and she's now 18 years old, so yeah, I've got that landmarker. But pretty weighty subject matter, I guess. Just stuff about life, but also about the traumatic head injury that I suffered. And I don't remember anything from 2 hours before falling down the flight of stairs, and I don't look at stairs anywhere near the way I used to look at them. Stairs are dangerous. Like, I've been hurt climbing in the past, but nowhere near as bad as falling down the stairs. So my own advice is just go climbing. It's way safer. And, yeah. So, yeah, 2 hours before to 10 hours after, or 10 days after, 12 days. I have no memory. And it happened in Saskatchewan when I was on vacation with my very dear friend and climbing partner, Scott, his wife, Laura Lee, and his 2 daughters, who get along like house on fire with my 2 daughters. All the girls had gone to bed. And Scott and Lee and I were trading the most recent cool music that we'd found through the last year and sharing it on the computer. And I think I did Mercy Me, which is a beautiful song. If you get a Mary Gauthier song covered by a gentleman, actually, that I forget his name, but that's part of having a traumatic head injury. You forget stuff. But yeah, Scott was midnight. He was showing me down into the downstairs where I'd be sleeping, and I don't know how I slipped and started falling. I pushed him out of the way. And he's a 20-plus year firefighter. And when he heard how hard my head hit these Montana log frame house steps, which are 4 feet this away and stretch out, and they're solid. And if anyone is in the idea of building a Montana log frame house, Scott will talk you out of it. Just because he did it once. It was a lot of work. But anyways, I pushed him out of the way, and the crack that he heard, he knew we were in trouble, so he shouted up to Laura Lee, who's the deputy chief of the Regina Police Department. Probably make captain before she retires. But she knew what to do. She called. Scott knew what to do, knew we were in trouble. I was quickly sputtering, going unconscious, and blood coming out of my mouth and gonna choke me, so he's getting it out of my mouth, and he doesn't like me sharing with anyone that he actually did mouth to mouth with me because he didn't have a suction device. So he did that. He even gave me some mouth to mouth stuff. And apparently I started posturing, and for the medical folks in the audience, posturing are people in the audience. Your back goes rigid and your arms lock up tight and your hands curl one way or the other. And one of the ways they curl, you're probably not coming back. So Scott was really getting worried, and not even worried about the stuff coming out of my ear, and this ear had been damaged. So the best EMT paramedic guy from Vancouver raced out in record time and started work on me. He got worried. And they called for the air ambulance, but it was already out. So they decided to put me in the ambulance and take me to the hospital. And Scott got in and gave me bag valve mask all the way to the hospital. And when you have a head injury, you learn about the fact that 2% of the body mass needs 90% of the oxygen. So it helped. It definitely helped, as did all of the prayers and well wishes and contact from all the people, that I've known for a long time, and it definitely helped. So I ended up in the ICU and under the care of a neurosurgeon who was calm enough to say, okay, he's got bleeding on the brain in a couple places, but we're not going to open his skull right now. Let's just see what happens. And good things happen. I started to have some recoveries. And the positioning. Scott's a really strong man. He tried to straighten my hands out and my arms, and he couldn't do it. You start to arch your back, and apparently the brain stem's getting pushed on. So all of which to say, people don't survive these kinds of accidents all the time. So it was a really serious accident. And what all of that not remembering, if there was something I could do to go back and remember and have contact, was the fear that I put into my daughters and my partner Nicole and my mother and my sister and my brother, and just so much fear within the family. And I was just totally unaware of it, just wherever I was. And the film is trying to figure out where I was and how that process of having the brain start to, I learned all kinds of stuff, neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity starts to, reconnect the brain because the brain's been scrambled. And in the hospital, it was after the ICU. I'm in the second week in the Regina hospital. Not funny, but oddly enough, the next day before my daughters really knew what was happening with me, my elder daughter, who was 15 at the time, who's 18 now, she's trying to swing on a tree, one of the few in the farmyard, and she falls and breaks her wrist. So she ends up at the other hospital getting her wrist pinned. So and that's when Scott said, "No more accidents." But the second week, my daughters soon went back to Canmore. Every day, my sister, who lives close to Regina, would spend half the day with me in the hospital, and Nicole would spend the other half of the day with me in the hospital, because only one person could be in the hospital at a time because of COVID. So it's the second week, and I still don't have any memories, and I don't even remember this. I've been told about it. Well, I do remember this, actually. I do. It's the second week, and one of the things I remember is the record-breaking accomplishment and going over the hurdle for the first time and clearing a hurdle was for me getting up in my bed, putting my hand against the wall and walking about this far to take a piss. And that was huge. That was like the Olympics. And yeah, piss was probably kind of normal. Sorry, there's probably children in here. But the second week, there's this really attractive, dark-haired young nurse who's being very attentive to me. And I'm thinking, wow, what a nice young nurse. You know, she's taking care of me. And then she goes to hug me. And I'm like, whoa, we can't do that. I have a girlfriend, and she's in Canmore. She's older than you, and she's blonde. And then I'm freaked out, dysregulated, as my partner Nicole teaches or studies that stuff. You know, I won't even look at her. And it was Nicole. So Nicole gets, you know, worried about this, and later that day, her girlfriend had to come from Prince Albert to talk her through this. What if he never recognizes me? And those kind of things are going on. How much is he going to recover and that stuff? And yeah, I said to who I didn't know was Cole, the brunette young nurse, could call the other woman. Can you please call the other woman? Which was my sister, who was spending the other half of the time in the hospital with me. Tried to call my sister and didn't get my sister, so she called my mother. And she said, Barry, there's someone on the phone for you. And I didn't recognize people. I couldn't get people's names. I couldn't get my daughter's names. When I talked to them on the phone, I would say, sweetie. I didn't remember anybody's name. And I was deregulated. I was tensed up. I was a little freaked out. And Nicole said, she handed me the phone. I took the phone, and my mother said, oh, Bear. And Nicole said my whole face and body relaxed. And the first name I found, I said, oh, Mom, my mother. Didn't see her face, just heard her voice. Longest association that I've had with a human being is my mother. First verse, human, you know, the longest human voice in whatever is inside here is my mother. And that's the name that I recognized. And I'll start crying now because it's pretty cool. But yeah. Then, the next day Nicole showed up and I said, oh, you are Nicole. I can hug you. And she was pretty happy about that. So, yeah, I think maybe another thing that I'd like to share about, there was a lot of climbing footage in there. A couple things. One is, you know, there's pictures of Nanga Parbat, and a lot of people ask me, like, what's your best climb been? And it's, I don't know, it's kind of like, I don't know what it's like. Like, you know, a race car driver like Mario Andretti, who goes through a number of careers on various race cars, at some point you ask him, and I shouldn't compare myself to Mario Andretti, but someone asks him, what's the best race you ever had? I'm like, oh man, I've raced thousands and thousands, so the best climb is kind of the same category. But one that I cherish is Nanga Parbat. And I was telling someone here today that in the early part of my climbing, it was all about how hard I was climbing. Like, was I climbing 5, 10, or 11? How hard the water ice was I was climbing? Was I, you know, I finally was able to do a new route on an alpine peak, and how hard was everything? Thank God we don't die, we can try something harder. And then in the middle part of my climbing career, it was all about, where are you climbing? Are you climbing in the Andes, the St. Elias, the Alaska Range, the Himalaya, the Karakoram, the Alps, the Southern Alps? Where are you climbing? And now, in this part of my climbing life, it's about those three guys I was on Nanga Parbat with. Those three men, Mark, Kevin, and Ward. And we were all in our early 20s, just early 30s, late 20s, early 30s. So 28 or 27, 29, and 31. And those guys have been with me ever since then. Before that, of course. But during this accident, they all showed up. Mark couldn't come, but both Kevin and Ward traveled and came and saw me and wanted to make sure I was okay, along with my other climbing partners. And back in the early part of my climbing career, you know, I couldn't stand up here and say to you all, nor could I say to those men that I climbed with, was that, to look at them and say, I love you. And I have no problem with that now. I love those guys. They know it. Whenever I talk to them, whenever we say goodbye, it's always a heart-to-heart hug, which is left side of the face to left side of the face. Ladies here in Munising taught me that, because the heart is a transmitter, and you align the transmitters of the heart. And yeah, I tell them I love them, and they tell me that they love me. So yeah, maybe that's worth all of that climbing for. And yeah, the last thing that I wanted to mention, part of this this brain injury stuff, is I probably don't remember the last thing that I was wanting to mention, but maybe it'll come to me in a flash. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, and I'm happy to talk about any of this stuff. And yeah, if anyone has any questions, just hold up your hand and just shout it out. Were the three mountains in Canmore the three sisters? Yes, they were. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Yep, they were the three sisters. And there's another three sisters down in Fernie, British Columbia, that are they're not exactly the same, but the same three images of a mountain that can be made out. Yeah. So, anyone have anything else that... If I could tell people who want to get into alpinism one solid thing, what it would be, I'm never good at one thing, but yeah. Two, okay, we'll see what we can do here. So, excuse me, if you're getting into alpinism, you're probably starting with gym climbing, sport climbing, maybe rock climbing, ice climbing. And that sequence of going through different types of experiences and terrain goes and gets more hazardous as you go up. And probably the most hazardous thing you can do is go alpine climbing. Why is that? There's glaciation, there's avalanche threat, there's a lot going on. So a short thing is, there's a lot of ways to get hurt on alpine mountains. So take your time. There's a picture of Kevin and I in Chamonix in 1980 in the slideshow. And we went to Chamonix, we were 21, and we wanted to climb, and we wanted to climb in the alpine. And we did that summer quite well, actually. But the older British climbers who we hung out with, because all the Brits go to Chamonix because it's close, and it's the place you want to go as an alpinist, they made a point of saying in the bar Nash, tread lightly, lad, tread lightly. You're playing with a risky environment, so take your time, baby steps. You need to get a pretty good toolbox together before you want to start into the alpine. And, those steps, going through traditional rock climbing and learning how to protect and how to use all that gear and keep it reasonably safe, and also ice. Those are the two, combined with learning about avalanche hazard and threat, that is going to make it safer for you. So I don't know if that answered the question or not, but yeah. Yes, take your time. Baby steps. Don't run out and rush into it. Yeah, I've often thought that the fact that I was born pretty poor, I didn't have a trust fund, so apologize to anyone who does. God bless you. But, the first year that I really started accomplishing things in the Alpine, if I had a trust fund, it would be, okay, Karakoram, then we'll go to the Himalaya, then we'll go right to the Alps, then we'll go to the Andes, then we'll go to the Alaska Range, with no time in between to have to make money and, come up with whatever to go to all those places. It would be too much too fast. So, yeah, definitely take your time, even if you have a trust fund. Yeah. Yes, and I still can't remember what the third thing that I wanted to say was, but yeah, some of the interesting things are, well, yeah, no, I do remember one of them. And that was during the recovery process at about the 3-month mark or something like that. You know, all of us have what we call the Norwegians and the Swedes, specifically the Swedes, or all the Scandinavians called the wolf hour, the hour of the wolf. And there was a movie made that Max von Sydow is one of his first roles. It's called The Hour of the Wolf, or The Wolf Hour, and it was Ingmar Bergman's only, quote, quote, horror movie. And really, it's a psychological thriller. And it is a good movie. I can recommend it if you like old movies. But 3 in the morning, when the wolf comes, and you're at your most vulnerable and most scared or less confident, maybe confused. But the wolf would come to me at 3 in the morning. And it was, the wolf got at me by getting into my head the idea that, what if I can never climb again? And that was a really, really scary, terrifying thought, that if I could never climb again. And my buddy Jack Tackle, who's been here 15 or 20 years ago, in his Jack Tackle way, and this is the Jack Tackle way. So, Bubba, when was it that you figured out you were put on this earth to climb? Because Jack was put on this earth to climb, and that's why we're here. So the thought of not being able to do it was really, really scary. So at that 6-month mark, where I started to go to the climbing gym, although my doctor told me I should have a helmet because they don't want you getting another head injury, but I just can't go to the climbing gym with a helmet on. So I wore it a lot of the rest of the time, but not at the climbing gym. That fear started to go away, and that's been a beautiful thing. So I am back to guiding now. Not as much as I used to do, but as much as probably appropriate for me, and I'm really enjoying it. And those same nights, the hour of the wolf wouldn't get me, because when I would think, what if I never get to ski again? And I'd be like, oh, well, that's some good skiing. You know, it was fun. Just as, you know, and just means I'm a climber. And I had to become a skier to become a mountain guide, but skiing is not my raison d'etre. I don't get anywhere near as much out of skiing as I do out of climbing. And some people are a total flip, 180 degrees, and skiing is their raison d'etre, and they don't get anything out of climbing. They only go ice climbing when there's not enough snow around in our area to go skiing. So you get two sides, right? And then every so often you meet someone who's really balanced across, and the wolf could get them both. So hopefully they never have to get there. So yeah, if there's no more questions, and, oh, good, thank you. Long-term recoveries or newfound health limitations. I was helped immensely by the people in the hospitals and my doctor, but then for the first 3 months from Canmore, I would be going every bi-weekly or 3 times a week into the Peter Lougheed Hospital in Canmore and seeing occupational therapists who specialize in this, physical therapists, and I'd have to look back in my notes for other types of therapists. And one of the things they gave me was this thing they gave to athletes, like hockey players. I'm Canadian, I think of hockey right away. We do with football players too, who get their bells rung pretty good, is this machine that can put all these light impulses and how fast you can touch these things and touch them all correctly. And then they start putting a word in the center, and they change the word, and you have to recover the word, and then it's a short sentence. And by doing this machine, I was able to get my driver's license back without having to go take a driver's exam. The gal who ran me through those circuits, and there was, a couple dozen of them, she wrote the Alberta Transport people, and my doctor did too, and they said, okay, you don't have to come and do a road test again. You're good for a Class 5 license and a Class 6 license, so car and motorcycle. And then they took away my Class 4, which is taxi driver license. Then I never drove a taxi, but I drive vans with guests like people are doing today. And I don't miss that one. I don't know if I'm going to get that one back or not. And yeah, the other stuff about lack of mobility, for me, I've had a hip replacement, 2 knee replacements, this shoulder worked on, metal in this hand, so I've had recoveries in the last 10 years. And it's to be kind to yourself and do the work. Like what the professionals tell you, and for me, some of those were the brain injury people at a different hospital in Calgary, the Foothills. Do what they tell you. Like at home, I've got stickies on the wall, and I'm practicing getting my peripheral vision developed again. And in the film is some of the other practice, going out and walking and doing things with my eyes that can keep me walking yet are a challenge for my eyes. So yeah, there's good help out there, I think. Yeah. So, got another question. I don't, I'm at the point now for a couple reasons. One, when my daughters are born, I had done so much traveling before my daughters were born that I thought, I've traveled and done enough expeditions. Like, I don't know what it is, 38 expeditions abroad or something like that to go climbing. But when my daughters were born, I said, okay, 3 weeks at the most once a year. And one of those was to Nepal in 2011. And I would just restrict myself to that because I didn't want to miss them growing up. And I also had traveled lots, and my list is getting shorter. Like anything, it's getting lower all the time. It'd have to be a really beautiful 7,000 meter mountain for me to even consider it. 8,000, it's so far, 8,000 meter mountains, they're so far in the rear view, and I can't even see them anymore. So, they're behind me. So that part of the list has definitely gone down. But yeah, just we'll see if I do any more alpine climbing. That'll be kind of one of the next steps. And I've been out rock climbing and longer rock climbs and traditional rock climbs and ice climbing, all that stuff. And the other day I was on a podcast and we were talking about risk and stuff in the mountains, and it was a couple guides talking to me in Canada. And at the end of the podcast, as we're winding it down, they said, what do you want to be remembered as? And this is what I said to them. I said, we're going to change gears here because we've been talking a lot about climbing and all that kind of stuff. I want to be remembered as a good father. The most important thing I do on this planet is raise my daughters. Full stop, period. Yeah. Yep, I agree. I agree totally. And all of the climbing, the writing, all that stuff, it's great. It's a lot of my raison d'etre, but I have bigger responsibility now, and it's to my daughters. So, yeah. And of course, my partner, Nicole, who I now recognize and love very much, and I recognize her on a daily basis. All righty. Okay, thank you.
Barry Blanchard, legend. We're gonna take a couple-minute break, set up the next show. So if you want to use the restroom, I'd do that quickly, and we'll get the show going again. All right, let's make our way back to our seats and we'll continue with this evening's program. All right, I'd like to welcome to the stage the president of the Upper Peninsula Climbers Coalition. How many people have heard of the UPCC? Awesome. So those of you that haven't, it's a climbing organization based in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan that is dedicated to preserving our climbing areas. We've had a lot of successes lately, including the first ever Michigan-owned climber land. It's a real interesting story. You can stop by the table to hear that, but we now own Slugs Bluff in the Upper Peninsula. If you have not joined yet, you should, because we are still working on getting Memorial Falls and Tannery Falls open to ice climbing. So, yeah. So those of you that did join are in a raffle, and John, I'll pick out, you can announce what it is, but we're giving away a set of ice axes here.
And in addition to owning our first climbing area, it's been a really big banner year. We now have Conrad Anker and Barry Blanchard as members of the Upper In addition to owning Slugs Bluff, we now have Conrad Anker and Barry Blanchard as members of the Upper Peninsula Climber Coalition. Yeah. And if everyone in this room donated $5, we could make one of Bill's dreams a reality, to have a composting toilet called Bill's Throne at Slugs Bluff. So stop by the table.
It's not a lot. All right, ready?
Yep. Mary Jane Bauer. And Mary Jane is a Northern student who probably spent more time at Slugs Bluff than in school this year.
So we have all kinds of raffles going on. Tomorrow morning, if you did join the Access Fund, they will have the raffle at 10 a.m. over at the Guide Center. What did I say? I did that on purpose so I could actually say the American Alpine Club raffle is tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. So everybody would remember that over at the Guide Center. Something new, we did have our remote route challenge this year, and sending people out into the backcountry to get some more ice climbing without other people. It's a fun challenge. We had a really close competition between two teams. The Pink Pigs got second place, missed it by one climb at 171 points. And the winners this year were Captain Scott Noss of the Sea Dragon 3 and his partner Jess. So come on up here, Captain Scott and Jess. Oh, hell no. Don't come down. Just stand there and wave. That'll take forever. So those guys, they won it, a close competition, 186 points. So this will be the trophy. They will have their nameplate on here as the 2023 Remote Challenge champions. You can see several panels on this, so we'll add it year after year. The person that made this also has more levels to it. So this will look like Lord Stanley Cup in a few years. So congratulations, thanks for participating. Did you see anybody out on the ice? Oh, those guys, yeah, in the competition, of course. But we also had people that went all the way to Marquette and climbed as well. So, yeah, kudos to you guys for taking that challenge and participating. We love it. One thing I'd like to do is to acknowledge that this festival honestly doesn't run with just a few people. There's a whole team that makes this happen. So we have a bunch of volunteers that take off school, take off work, come over here. We get them up at ungodly hours of the morning and keep them up really late. So if you volunteered for the 2023 festival, please stand up. Yeah, amazing. We love our volunteers. Thank you very much. Really, really appreciate it. We also have a local guide service called the Michigan Ice Fest Guides. We work them just as hard. They are the ones that are teaching a lot of the clinics with the professional athletes that come in. They know the park really well. All of them are on the High Angle Rescue Team as well. If you'll stand up. I know there's a few in the house anyways. There we got one. Oh, damn it. I think they went to the bar because they were sitting right over there. Oh, well, they're really hard workers, so we appreciate them. And then finally, the one guy that is more behind the scenes but is truly the brains of this operation is my good friend, Matt Abbots. And Matt is standing right over here. Does an amazing job with all of our data, putting together our program, and all that good stuff. So we really appreciate what Matt does for us. So he'll probably buy, if you buy him a beer tonight, he'll probably appreciate that as well. So our next presentation tonight, I keep kidding him, kind of kidding, because every time he comes up here, it turns into about a 40 to 60 degree day in the middle of February. It's hard to believe that that happens, but I would never not invite him here because I think he is one of the kindest human beings. He's a legend. He will talk to you, offer advice. You ask him to do something and he'll do it. He really doesn't need an introduction. It's why we're all here. Please welcome Conrad Anker.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Bill, and woo! Yeah. Yeah. Probably what I didn't need to do for my voice before I start talking, but hey, we got to get feral. Barry, thank you for that wonderful presentation. And, oh, do we have a sip of water? Thank you. Okay, yeah. 3 years ago here around the same time, and then the wheels came off the world. COVID, it got a little bit crazy. A year ago, it was still here, like you wearing the mask, vaccinated, all that stuff. But we're here back again as a community. And these meetups that we have around the country, around the world as ice climbers are particularly meaningful for guys like Barry and I, and we see each other again after another pass around the sun, and we're still there, and we still connect, and we see the next generation coming up and doing things, and that's what we're all about. So we share that, and it's a beautiful thing. Tonight's presentation is about the Sherpa people of Nepal. So I was here a few years ago, and I did one of those, well, and there I was. It was super hardcore. We had to eat couscous, and we ran out of food and all that bullshit. I'm going to talk about someone else. And so just because as a country we are geographically challenged, this is Southeast Asia. So, and the place that we're talking about is Nepal. And so we can see where everyone is, where all the different countries are in there. And the this is sort of a geology map with the rivers on there. But the Himalayas are the most active, youngest mountain range. And the area that we're going to be focusing on is the Mount Everest area. So we've kind of gone old school with maps. This isn't Google Earth, but this is the area that we're going to be looking at. And the people that live in this area that are endemic to there are the Sherpa people. So the presentation will begin with a clip that Aaron Huey, along with the National Geographic Society, that we put together several years ago. And we're going to show this and then jump into the presentation.
Olase oran sharadila ubjindi kangrigi ubjindi numse embai I ubjime oran yönden mesma laga embai ni oran shargi laga embai kimme kyogi kiyan chilme kebe yönden tendo chishadi gomala yönden dimedi lagi tama tenda dawani tai yo kangrila jasmbodo dasa khade misi zulumjin medigi mi thongi la
두교 패밀리디서 대땅가 시스마이농 양발라 잠메스마 틸라서 강치노마디 미고르디야 망치에오레 코레기게 강지진 항알라 녀성 탄데리 뭐 길레 부제랑 마자 망치리 오레 남 기사이나 카이나 알라 부제랑 마자 정말 거니 뭐세 땅가 빌레히 너무 진지 라서
nga khangilagi khangli jeon si komala ni pala ti doni asim tracking ne doni khangli ala chakluin ni pali ki ichati khangstang khoi ki sapana ti pura khiru la ki mi ki ti khangli ti jeon in komala khana si phumba cha hasimala komala khangsigona omiki ki chikdo orsina khangbenang la tesimala anga school cholapsina anga ki phumba cha sina ekdam junda to ka khiruno ke ant
सर्व खोला कोमलंग रंगदला एजुकेशन मोइंग समांग गदि लगादि दिखांगे एकदम खतरा लगा डेंजर लगा तने खिको चंगसुं भेजादिला सके समय एजुकेशन दि स्कूल दि लेमन लाम देरो लामबि समा खोगि कि लोकला दिला खांगे जो सिन गदांगे या ओरे लगा तो डॉक्टर पाइलट को खांग खोजि खोगि लाइफ खासन लोकदला खांजियो ना मथिया सरदर मिसे 강리 티라 핀 얘기 통라 아니 아주 되는 나사골디 핀 오레스나 아 강리라 루당 도가 강라게 미상 알라 나사가 송 틸라디 강이 니시세 까시 오런디 까시 법
강리라 드로시 창다가 쳔무 저이질라 창다가 창동 여디 접덕 진무 베시gem데디벨라 몰라 줄라 찍바치스마 공가 더블롱니 매운길니 흰 구르라 가레냐니 뇨니 매운길니 담마 셔루 약보잡니 찐무
어레기 셔리르슈 또니 답기 상법 기위틸라
아 그래요 안네
다자도기 댄 캬위시 디 리슈 돈 모도 라가데 와라는 케케게 민들라기 와랑 상여 좀 되네기 오래 가냥 김에기 수르기 랍시메베 오래 키케기 오래 기기랑 요즈가 기릅시데 그노 탄다
오타셔버디 치업기미니 클라이밍 강키미히 강게네스 람딩 코이 깡니 들기 캠딩 코이 세켄니 들기 탁바딘 링 코이 깡니 들기 디 클래스 let take care 디 dop 셔버기 클라이머 디 칸니 셔버기 클라이밍 셔버디 칸니 들기 तारा ख्वाती बेस कैम्प ने मा समिट खाने एकदम समिट खाने बेस कैम्प लेसम बेस कैम्प मा लानी गलु जला खरंग गलि जेनी होय खररा जेन संसु ना समझि खाली तंगुदि लागि थन्दा टिक मेजिक सेमला दुबा क्यापति थिसला त के किनो थुरंग यासिङ ए बिजर कि त लुचु त बा चुजि गि जुगला दि ना वेस्टर्न गाइड कि दार्ती रंग शेरबा गि गाइड टिङ ल्यान्डिङ एतको डिप्लोजी दि नै नै ना समला
A little bit of a background there of Sherpa culture and hearing in their voices. Those are climbers from the village of Fortsay, a village that will kind of come in a little bit closer to that. But the Everest Chomolungma, mother goddess of the earth or the snows, depending on one's interpretation of it, it was always a sacred place for Tibetan Buddhism. This is the Rongbuk Monastery on the north side, and the sister monastery to that is a Tengboshe in the Khumbu Valley. And so spiritual to both these, the north and the south side of the mountain, And then sort of the Western history of climbing on the mountain, George Mallory and the pioneering expeditions of 1921, 22, and 1924, and their quest to get up to the top of the mountains. And it was on this expedition, we can see here where they're helping people through the ice fall there. They're all snowblind, but there was 7 of the Nepali Sherpa people that were working on the mountain that perished in an avalanche. And this was the first instance of a loss of life for people that were working for Westerners to go up and climb to the summit. The summit was attained on the 29th of May, 1953, and it was Tenzing Norgay here is photographed by Ed Hillary, and it was a wonderful moment. We're 7 years after the Second World War had ended, and to uplift the Easterners, Tenzing Norgay, and the humble beekeeper, so to say, from New Zealand, and to do that as a shared goal was really something special. That it coincided with the coronation of Queen Elizabeth, who just passed away this past year, was another sort of a footnote of history. And if we think about the first ascent of Everest, 1953, 1969, 16 years later, we went to the moon. So in this like 75-year window, humans did a lot of really cool things. And now we're doing them on a smaller scale. But flash forward 1963, this is the United States expedition that went up, repeated the South Col route, and then with Willie Insold and Tom Hornbein traversed the West Ridge up and over, something that to this day hasn't been done. But we can see here the people carrying the equipment in, lowland porters, and then moving up onto the mountain. And a lot of these expeditions, and all of them, as was pointed out by Funuru in the video, would not have success without the work of the Nepali and indigenous people that work with the expeditions. But it was a pretty groundbreaking expedition there, 1963. They came back, they were welcomed to the White House by John F. Kennedy, and it kind of was the beginning of making climbing cool. And then the 60s happened in Yosemite. It's a whole nother tangent there. But we're talking about the Sherpas, the people in Nepal. And my connection here began in 1988. I went there. I was like, oh, I'm going to go do this great climb. It's going to be hard, fluted ridges. It'll be 5'10", kind of like what Barry was talking about, that it was about yourself. But having been there, I met the people that live there. And so for them, life is difficult enough as it is. And so this, why do you have to go climb? What are you doing this for? There's like a little bit of a disconnect, but there's also an appreciation that I come to their culture with that they see and they reflect positively upon. So that sort of was the transformation of it. And for the people that have been there, they've really been a great part of this. So the next series of slides, I've got some time-lapse photography from the Extreme Ice Survey and Jim Baylog, and then Aaron Huey. So there's maybe a Jimmy Chin picture or two in there, but these are the two main photographers that they've so graciously allowed me to use their photography in the presentation. So I always want to be nice and thankful for them. But this is the Khumbu Ice Fall, and this is why Everest is dangerous for the people that work on them. And so this time-lapse clip of the ice fall moving. This was taken from 2010 to 2012. We had the cameras set up, but this is the shadow you see is not a day shadow. It's a yearly shadow of where the sun goes. So it's pretty fascinating, and so we can then use this to understand this, some of the challenges that exhibit them there. But this is, if we study time-lapse photography and historical repeat photography, we really see how much the landscape is changing. We talked about the barometer here of the Michigan Ice Festival being warm. So 2015, there was an ice avalanche that came and took the lives of 17 Nepalis that were working in the mountain in this one region in there. So this is one of the climbing on the south side, which makes the route difficult, is that you have to go up through the ice fall, and it is moving, it's tottering, it's incredibly scary, and where a Western client might go through there 1, 2 times. Their whole thing is not to go there as much as all, but then there's the lower elevation mountain-wise porters that are going through there up to 5 round trips in a season in a very risky type of place. And that, and it's something that is not going to go away. This is Everest Base Camp, and then climbing on the Lhotse face. And so this photograph is emblematic of the overcrowding that the high mountains are experiencing in this time and age. On Denali, National Park Service, shout out to Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore. I love the National Park Service and everyone that works for them. They have done a carrying capacity study, regulated it, look at the people that come climb on the mountain, the people that guide the mountain on Denali, and they capped it at 1,400 people. On Everest, there is no limit. They will sell as many $12,000 climbing permits as they can, as the market will bear, which ends up, you have problems like this. And because on Denali, you've got a 2-month season, 8 weeks when you can climb. The summit's 6,000 meters, you're carrying your own gear. On Everest, you might have a 2-day to a 2-week window, and then inevitably this is the traffic jams that we come to see every 3rd week in May. They splash across the media, our social media feeds is what's going on there. And people question, is this the right thing? That you put all this expense and toil, hardship, putting your friends at risk for what we do? That philosophical question, I think we all make peace with that ourselves as we go out in the mountains. But the business side of it, from my view, is that it's a flywheel for the tourism in Nepal and the economy that works there. And for someone that their life goal is to climb a mountain, it's consumptive, it's selfish, it's got all those things, but at least it's a little bit better than shooting a rhinoceros or something like that, which people do to soothe their egos or burnish them. But there's a lot of challenges that go on there, and that's been a part of my adult life and working with the people of Nepal and what they mean to me and the beauty of it all. So yeah, it's not for everyone, but if you do end up going over there, it ends up being a really special place. So some of the views here, the ravens fluttering around camp on Ama Dablam, the beautiful fluted ridges, the trails, Lhotse, Nuptse in the background, and the people that work on the mountains. This is there's a tremendous amount of labor that goes into it. It's shifting to helicopters, in that it's cheaper for helicopters to take material up by the kg than it is to hire porters, but it comes at a greater impact. So all the challenges that we as humans face, just sort of as a heads up, have really difficult challenges that we need to address with them. So if we're looking at green energy, it's the cobalt that goes into the batteries. If we're looking at windmills, where are they at in people's houses? So everything comes with a challenge. So is that trade-off of having people porter equipment up or having it be flown up in a helicopter is looking at that. And there's always, they make for good ways to communicate with it. But the people that work on the mountain, this is Ama Dablam, which is a very popular route. It's technical. It's up to 5/8 climbing, and it sees quite a steady stream of climbers. And the type of climbing, you can see all the fixed rope on there. It's quite exhaustive what goes up on the mountain and how people sort of come around to working with that. This is Danuru Sherpa. He was the fellow that was in the photograph. They said they pay a lot of money to go climbing. I don't know why. He was on our Mallory trip in 1999 and was 18 at the time. And so he now lives in Golden, Colorado, and is pursuing the American dream with his 2 children. So he's, and his mother and his brothers still live in Fort Say, and they stay connected to it. But yeah, a lot of the hard work that people do, whether it's breaking ships off in Bangladesh or mining coal, that we put people in hardship's way, in the form of working with business. And so in this case, we're putting people with limited experience in a very dangerous place from a technical standpoint. So, and I guess that kind of comes back to a responsibility on my part, and by extension our part, for those of us that visit the mountains and that benefit from the mountains, that from an experiential standpoint and a friendship and a cultural standpoint, to be able to give something back. And at the end of the day, this is it's business. It's about earning money. And Mingma Chiring, who is in the back there of the photograph, was with me in 1999. I've spent more time above 8,000 meters with this gentleman than I have any of my other climbing friends. And he was with our family when we went back to Tibet to attend to Alex and David. And so he's like a close friend, but at the end of the day, he still needs to go up on the mountain and work hard. Of course, we discourage playing cards, but fortunes have been lost at base camp. They'll always be like, oh, so-and-so lost a paycheck. So I'm sure it's the same story that happens in Vegas. But yeah, why gamble with money when you can gamble with your life? But anyways, that's what we're out here climbing with knives on our feet in 42 degrees temperature. So, but yeah, the little bit of a time-lapse photograph. This is Namche. At the beginning, it was a small salt and wool trading outpost. So salt and wool came over from Tibet, and then it was brought and traded for rice and sugar coming up. And so the Nung Pala, which is the traditional pass between Tibet and Nepal, has been now closed for a period of 14 years, and which has quite a bit of an impact on the Tibetan Sherpa culture as they blend between the two of them in there. But it's an incredibly beautiful country. It's a guilty pleasure that we have, being able to travel around the world and visit other cultures. It comes at a cost, but it also makes us more appreciative of other humans and what their goals and what might work for them and their hopes and trials and tribulations. So Amida Blam in the background, and hourglass-shaped, this is the village of Forse, and this is right next to that juniper tree is where the Khumbu Climbing Center is, and so that'll be sort of transition into that in the next part of this after we enjoy Aaron's wonderful photography. This is Karma. He was on Makalu with Ed Hillary, and then his son climbed Everest in the 80s, and his grandson now guides on the mountains. He's Pemba Shahwa on Instagram, which I find is a crack up, so they're all over there. But yeah, the community here, volleyball, that is an important part of where they're at. They now, each of the villages has invested in these volleyball courts, and they, yeah, it's quite a spirited game of volleyball. So the Khumbu Climbing Center is vocational training for high-altitude workers in a supportive community-based program. And we finished the 19th year. The program is in the hands of the Nepali people that work with it. And it began with an idea that climbing is going to remain constant in Nepal. People are going to be climbing, but can we make it safer by becoming better climbers for the fun of it? And that was sort of the bottom line. So we set up a little mini photo booth, and we gave everyone a chance to click the remote as they saw it in themselves. So this is, stay tuned, watch fast. Yeah, we're going to do it again. It's so much fun. But yeah, it's a lot of people, they're like, oh, I want to go to the Khumbu. I want to see slate roofs. I want to see traditional dress. I want to see the old wooden yak butter churner type thing. But for the young generation, they're connected with their smartphones. They're on the same social media apps that we are. They see the world as we do. And there's not this like, oh, I got to be a mountain climbing guide in Nepal because I'm going to make money for it, and I'm going to iron the shoelaces of my clients, but I want to go climbing because it's a really cool and fun thing to do. And seeing that transition within the community has really been, on my end, the most wonderful part of climbing, growing in the Himalayas over the last 30 years, and that the local people want to go climbing for the same reasons that we do, which is to go out and have fun and be with your friends there. So a little bit of trivia history here. So Barry gave us the left cheek and the heart. Thank you with that, and we all share that forward. The cowboy hat became part of the Sherpa dress after 1963. So the Sherpas that worked on the mountain with the American Everest expedition, they had the cowboy hats. And so now a wool felt tan cowboy hat is quite the accoutrement for your traditional dress, and kind of an example of being flexible and finding other ways in which you can work with it. But the harsh reality of being in the mountains and what we do is that it comes at a cost. And we've all experienced it on a personal level. We've been through it. But for people that work in the mountains, it's far more difficult. And this is a widow. Her husband died in the mountains. The Juniper Fund, which is with Melissa Arnaud, a wonderful program, offers support primarily for widows and widower, if that's the case, after their husbands die in the mountains, and give them a chance to get back to it. But there's not a family or anyone within the Khumbu that hasn't been affected by this level of loss. And the fatality was much higher in previous times before we were able to make it safer, make it a better type of thing. But there's, this is the all too real cost. And so we all deal with it, we all carry the weight of it. We have the grief people from the Alpine Club here, so as Barry said, don't be shy, tell people you love them. So this is Dumche. So Dumche is sort of like a potlatch, takes place in June of each year, and families get together and they'll rotate, and so it's your turn to host the big Dumche. So you get many sacks of rice and fermented barley and all that other good things, and you then offer it to everyone that's there within that. So really sort of a special type of thing, and it rotates in terms of families to be able to do this. But the nice thing is that in a sense it was a social net, having been able to be up there and participate with this. For the everyone is given rice and food from this, and so they create these wonderful big cauldrons of food, and they share it within them. But then the people that might not be as fortunate as the other families, they are given extra rice and sort of brought into the fold of the community with that. Sport climbing in Kathmandu. This is sort of the way that Kathmandu Valley is transitioning with these cement high-rise apartment buildings, but within it there's small gardens and a climbing center, which gives people a chance to sort of really to look out to it. A large part of the Sherpa population lives in Kathmandu. During the Maoist insurgency, there was more people moved from the remote parts of Nepal into Kathmandu seeking work, and with that, the trials, the challenges that come with it. And so this is Danuru with his mom. So he's a good friend of mine. He lives now here in the United States, and that was his dream. And he had worked on Everest for a long time, but he didn't see it in the same way I did. Like, oh wow, it was this great thing. And you know, his Sherpa friends are like, man, you're still guiding up there? When are you going to stop doing that? Because they know how dangerous it is. But some of these photographs here of images, how they see themselves, snapshots that they take on the wall, picture them on the summit with their favorite gear, and then sort of a collage of all of their summit photos that they take on there. So thanks to Nat Geo and Aaron Huey for the use of the photos. There's some links there if you want to help out and work at that. So this next section, this is Annapurna 3. And this is Stuart Alexander Lowe. So Barry and Bill and a couple of others of us know him. Ice climbing in New Hampshire here on the, it's like gear where you don't need it, right down by your feet. Just hold on and don't let go. But Alex was a dear friend to many of us, and in the 90s, from 1990 up to 1999, he and I had embarked on a bunch of expeditions to different parts in the world and tried things, sometimes with success, sometimes with failure, but the one time that it was really difficult was in 1999 when October 5th, an avalanche came and took the life of Alex and David Bridges. And the quote by Camus, whether or not one can live with one's passion and accept its law, which is to burn the heart it simultaneously exalts, that is the question. So, simplified, why do something that makes you feel so alive when it can possibly kill you? We're not going to answer that today. But Jenny and I and our family together and her love of the boys, and we brought them to Nepal and to be part of the Khumbu Climbing Center. This is the first year in 2003, playing violin, going ice climbing, preparing Corsani, learning how to repair a generator. And this is my favorite one, playing Lego with boys. And so Sam now in the photograph is 30 years old, and so the other boys are the same age. And they got together in 2019, and they just cracked up when we brought out these pictures of like, when you were little kids playing Lego, this was what you looked like. And so, but yeah, our connection to this village in Fort Say was a way to give something back to the people that work in the mountains. And it wasn't coming from the government. They had training programs, but they weren't giving it the effort that it was due. And the guide services weren't investing back into it. So it came to the climbers, so it became the climbing school. It's not the Sherpa school, it's not the tea cooking school, it's not the I'm going to take care of you school. It's like, let's go climbing and be safe and better climbers. And the medium that is we use is similar to here. It's ice climbing. So if you're able to climb water ice and then you go on to less angle, you feel quite confident with it, and it works out really in a positive way. But overall, it started out, and what initially was, this is the elementary school, and the courses would take place during winter break. We would use the school and kind of run things in the forest, but we had an idea to build a physical building, and in conjunction with the Montana State University School of Architecture and the Tribhuvan University School of Architecture, coming up with a design, and then over a period of 10 years, eventually finishing it and getting it done, so which was a story unto itself of how to build a building on the other side of the world. But it's still these people here that I get to be with. These are the icefall doctors. They have some of the most dangerous jobs in the world. And then for the monks and the people that are working in there. So this is Pemba Galjan, and his father was a climbing guide. His brother was a climbing guide and died on the mountain, and I knew his brother, and he is at the monastery, and he came over to the opening of the school. He's there on the right, and yeah, when I go over there, I check in with him, and he sends me messages and follows the World Cup soccer, and it's this great relationship. You know, we're on the other side of the world. And this is Danuru. He was with us on our 1999 expedition, maintained that friendship. Here's Jimmy. He's looking, we love Jimmy, huh? Here's Philip Philip Henderson. He's been an integral part of my life with the KCC, and also, you know, he and I as a team to bring around a more equitable and open world. So the finished building is there in Fort Say. You can go visit it. It's we help out, but it's mostly in their hands. And for the Rye craftsmen that worked on the building, a deep sense of gratitude. They worked there for a period of time, and we were able to keep them employed. The animal stack, so the elephant with the monkey, with the goat, with the rabbit, with the deer, with the rabbit, with the dove. So it's about cooperation, and so it's kind of a nice thing. Sherpani people, a few more Dumche type of photographs here in the monastery. I love all that stuff. So, but yeah, the ongoing. The program will now be entering in its 20th year, and there's been over 1,500 people that have graduated in the program, and it's made it for a better and a safer journey experience. So, you know, I got to thank my family. They're wonderful, and it's the best part of this there. But I kind of feel like I started the slideshow with this wolf howl because we all got together after 3 years, and my presentation felt very much like I was at university, and you're going to have to take notes on it. And so trying to figure out something that's really wild and optimistic. Do we have questions and answers, or are we just going to go off into the wild parts of the world? Lights? Because that is kind of the end of the show. Yeah, thank you.
One more round of applause for Conrad Anker. We would also like to thank North Face for sending Conrad, Sam Elias, and Matt Cornell. They're another really big sponsor of this festival, and we really appreciate that. So, without further ado, we're going to get to that raffle, so take out your raffle tickets. All right, don't forget, right after the raffle, we're going down to the Gallery Coffee Company for the after party, and there is live music from the Way Outs. All right, get those tickets out. I'm getting thirsty. You remember who our title sponsor is? Darn right it is, Black Diamond. So we're going to give out a 9-4-70. We're giving out a 9-4-70 meter rope to 7-8-4-6. Must be the front row. A Cedar Summit sleeping system, sleeping pad and sleeping bag. 8168. All right, everyone else, take note. That's how you do it right there. We have a pickle bucket from Sterling Rope. 7805. We have an Osprey backpack. And outdoor research gloves. Well, I like where this is going. What else we got? Pair of Oakley goggles. Yeah. A semi-used pair of Oakley goggles. 7859. I need an empty box. We have a Sterling t-shirt. Bouldering is dumb. I know what that one is. We have an Arc'teryx Alpha FL30 backpack and a Deuter girls something. Next one. 7783. We almost had to take away one of those prizes. I did not hear that. Oh, this is really nice. We have a women's Proton hoodie and a Gravel pint glass. 7772. All right, now ladies, look at this guy. He's going to be at Gallery Coffee Company with a small women's jacket tonight. Right there. We have a Deuter backpack and a pair of outdoor research gloves for 8092. We have a beautiful Rab Puffy and a Patagonia backpack. This is really nice. Yeah. 8328. We have a Deuter backpack. And a matching Rab jacket. Probably need a hat to go with that too. I love those guys. 7747. I'm getting tired of those backpacks. We're going to give away a pair of mountain boots. A pair of Loa mountain boots. Any mountain boot up to $470 Loa mountain boots. 7710. We have a Arc'teryx backpack and a matching Arc'teryx hat. 7734. There we go. Oh, I like this one here. We have a Petzl helmet. We have a Alpine Draws from Trango, and a Grigri, and a hat, and a Deuter something. Eight, 0, 8, 4. Oh, they must not have wanted it that bad. So we're going to throw in a pair of snowshoes, too. You better yell louder than that. Look at how close that hand was to drawing another one. What's that? Oh, yeah, you got to yell louder than that, though. I am getting thirsty. So a pair of tub snowshoes and some food to go along with those snowshoes. 7626. All right. 8161. Oh, we were going so good. Seven, 762. We got another pickle bucket. We got a Patagonia hat, and we got a Petzl harness. 8136. Guys. Seven, 924. You better yell louder than that. I almost dropped it. So we got a pair of Gravel crampons, some Trango Alpine Draws, a dirt bag, 8011. Whoa, yeah. Maybe Casey would want to show these off a little bit. What do those tools look like? He's been in the demo room all day long. Look at him. All right, those are Petzl Nomic tools. How much do they cost? A lot. That is brand new Petzl Nomic tools for 7794. Yeah, that's what I said. We have another Arc'teryx backpack. We have an Arc'teryx matching hat and a Eno hammock for 2. Ice Fest is for lovers. 8279. Look at that, I already drew the next one. We have another dirt bag, and we have a copper spur tent from Big Agnes. And a little after party dinner tonight from Good to Go. 7775. We're going to wait on those just for a second. So we are going to do a Sterling rope. They are the official rope sponsor of the Michigan Ice Fest. It is a Quest 96 60 meter, 7832. Now we're going to do those Altai skis. Oh, they're not as enthusiastic now. Eight, 2, 6, 3. Seven, 8, 0, 0. Shouldn't have left the show. I think those are about $300, if not more. $329, I guess. 7988. Another Deuter backpack. 7841. Another Arc'teryx backpack. 2 Patagonia hats. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me put the glasses on. A Patagonia backpack. 2 Patagonia hats. Another Gravel pint glass and Sterling shades for tonight's party with the way outs. 7848. We got a pair of crampons from camp. We got quick draws from camp. And we got an Arc'teryx beanie 7786. We got some Petzl quick draws. We got a Deuter tote. And we got a duffel from Patagonia, 55 liters, 7654. So, let's see. We have from La Sportiva 1 free pair of mountain boots. So that's an $800 value. Unless you want to buy the $300 ones. But it says any mountain boot, so I would suggest the $800 pair. That is going to 7635. Directions on the back. I should have read the back. There might be some fine print. We have an Arc'teryx backpack. We have an Arc'teryx matching hat. We have a Petzl helmet for 7622. Hey, Case. I tell him not to. We have a Trango helmet and an Arc'teryx jacket, 8222. Did I miss something? Oh, it fell. All right, we have a Patagonia backpack, a pickle bucket from Sterling Rope. We have 3 hats and glasses and it might be a headband or armband. I'm not sure. 8007. From La Sportiva, again, we have up to $150 in apparel. Eight, or no, yeah, 8019. We have a nice crag pack from Rab. What'd you win? I can't remember. Seven, 6, 2, 1. So we have another Sterling Rope. It is a nano 60 meter 806. Did I just call that? What did I just call? Let's see if the same person comes up. 8066. Nope. We have another backpack from Patagonia. 8317. From Trango, we have another helmet. We have some Alpine draws from Trango. And we have a pickle bucket to carry all that stuff. 7610. So, Loa boots, these are hiking boots, your choice. 7967. We have 2 dirt bags, a Deuter, we're not sure what it is, a pickle bucket, and 2 Arc'teryx hats for 8169. From Loa, a pair of approach shoes, up to 250 bucks. $7934. Let's see what we got. Those will be the last 2, and then the boots. Yeah. Oh yeah. Let's grab a. Yep. So we have a Deuter pack and a pair of Scarpa mountain boots. Excludes the Phantom 8000 and 6000, but hey, yeah, I know, but the Phantom Tex, still a $700 pair of boots, right? Did you boo me? I've never been booed for an $1,000 prize. Unbelievable. I'm just teasing. 7881. We have another pickle bucket, Arc'teryx backpack and camp quick draws for 7890. So we have another Sterling pickle bucket, 2 dirt bags, pair of Alpine draws for 7850. So this stuff, why don't you grab it? All right, another pair of Loa mountain boots, up to $470, goes to 8309. How about another pair of Scarpa mountain boots? $7690. Hey. Hey. $150 of La Sportiva apparel and a pickle bucket. From Sterling, 7892. Is that the last? Yeah, let's do it. Which one first? Carbon Tech Machine, or no, I'm sorry, Carbon North Machines. Oh, see how quiet it got? 7-6. I could have misread it. 7618. Fantastic. Oh, you found another one. Oh, we're finding them on the floor everywhere. Oh, that's a good one, too. Boots or tools? Boots. La Sportiva mountain boots. Another $800. I should read the back first, I guess. Hey, I think if it's up, I don't know what it says. It's a good price. 8067 La Sportiva boots. Woo! All right, last one. Where are we going to party? Gallery Coffee Company. The way outs have probably into their second set already. Oh, no, what did I do? I thought I was going to raffle it off again. I think All right, I got one rule, and that rule is after I announce the winner, the red tickets don't go on the floor because I won't be able to go over to gallery. I'll be picking up tickets, so you can drop them out on the way out. We'll meet you over to the Gallery Coffee Company right after this winner picks up these Cassine tools, one of our favorites at the Guide Center. 7. They may not be here, so I'm going to start over. 7917. Thank you all very much. We'll see you over at Gallery.